Okay, I think we're live on Instagram. Now we're waiting on Facebook. Hang on 1 second, peeps. We're having issues. We have stinky Wi-Fi.
Yes, we do.
Stinky. It's very bad Wi-Fi where we are. So, and it's about to come a storm here, but we are sitting out on our porch because we don't get to sit out on our porch a lot, especially in the spring and summer. So whenever it's cooler, we come out here on the porch and do what we have to do. But we weren't able to do a live video last week. It was kind of a crazy week. I can't even say why it was crazy.
Busy.
Yeah, I guess just busy. So I'm kind of stalling here because I'm waiting for Facebook to load, but I'm not thinking that, I don't know if it's going to or not. Will you check it and see if it's on there? Anyway, so last week it was just kind of crazy. I think both of us needed to like mentally just chill for a little while, and I don't know. I'm sure y'all have had lots of those. It's in the Purposeful Woman. I'm sure a lot of y'all have had a lot of those, and especially since y'all have been going through quarantine and, the shelter in place and everything. So it's just the unknown. So anyway, I don't think Facebook is going to work anyway, so we're just going to do away with that right now, and we'll just focus on y'all right here on Instagram, and we'll just repost it on Purposeful Woman. So yeah, before I get started though, Chris and I are going to be hosting a 7-day live devotional in our Facebook group. So I will share the link on my Instagram stories today, and you can also go into my bio and you can find it in there as well. So we're going to be doing that pretty soon. We know that you can bring your husband. It's called the Purposeful Woman group, but Chris is going to be in there. We focus a lot on the women's side of it, but it's something for you and your spouse to do together. Also, if you want to bring a friend, invite them to the group because we'd love to have them. But you can go into, like I said, my bio and check it out. But today we were going to talk about, I know the other day I posted, or I reposted an archived post, and it said something about that we only had a 7% chance of ever having kids, and a lot of people were like, I didn't know that. So I know with Mother's Day coming up, and it's such a hard time for some people, we figured we would tie it all in together and just kind of talk about it, because we know a lot of people are kind of struggling right now. But you got anything to say about the story?
We just didn't know, and Mandy had to have a procedure to help with part of it, but the main issue was on my side, and we didn't know that until the day we went to have a test done, and the day we had a test done on me.
Well, we gotta give them the whole backstory,
What?
though. I mean, so it was there. I mean, you're just gonna like tell the whole story in like one sentence. It was like a lot more to it than that. So, yeah. So we.
I'm not gonna talk. You can just take over.
Whatever. No. So we were married 4 years before we started trying for kids, I guess, and I'd had some complications before me and Chris even got married. I'd had 2 kids that I had lost, and that was another day, another story, but that was before me and Chris ever met. So I was having complications, and whenever we started trying, months went by and we just couldn't, nothing was happening. And So I went and got checked, and of course, there were some more things that were wrong. So they had to correct some of it. They were able to correct some of it. I still had some issues, but we were just kind of hoping and praying through that. And then things still weren't moving, things still weren't happening. So the doctor said, the next person in line is Chris. So we went and got checked, and there were some issues there.
Yeah, it's joyful.
But I mean, nothing that God couldn't fix, that's for sure. But we actually went back the day that we went back to see his doctor. He told us basically, y'all have only a 7% chance of ever having kids together.
Probably never have any boys.
Yeah, the chances of having boys was very slim. It was just, there's a lot more scientific stuff to go along with it, but we won't get into all of that. Another day, another time. But they were able to tell us that slim of a chance, only 7%, we would probably never have boys. So we went back home, and of course we were pretty upset, and it was just, whenever somebody tells you that you don't have but 7% chance of ever having kids, it kind of stinks. But so we cried some that night. We're thinking about, okay, well, God's got other plans for us. We're going to adopt. We know that we're supposed to be parents. And little did we know, was it the next day?
That was
Maybe
when
a
I
couple
was
of
going to
days.
have an ultrasound done at the hospital
Yeah.
to check things. And when I come home early to go check that, you had taken a test and you were pregnant.
Yeah, so I guess it was just a little bit after that. Not very long after we had gotten the news. And so anyway, I didn't feel very well, and I was thinking it was the flu. Little did I know, whenever I took the pregnancy test, I had been pregnant the whole time that doctor had told us we only had a 7% chance. And so it was kind of a whirlwind after that. And then we went back and saw his doctor to get some more test results back, and we were like, guess what? He was like, what? We told him, and he literally threw the folder and was like,
well, just call me if you need me.
well, you don't need me.
Yeah. So it was cool.
It was. And I think I questioned a lot, and I asked Chris, of course I was over the moon, but I asked Chris, why would God put us through that? Why, if he was going to take care of it in the long run? Because, it was just a matter of days from whenever they told us you had a 7% chance, and then I was pregnant. I'd been pregnant the whole time. So it was a matter of days that we had, kind of lived in that torment, I guess. And I kept always asking Chris, why would God do that? And what did you say?
Did I?
Yeah, you said.
What did I tell you?
You don't even remember
It's
what
been
he
a while,
said.
huh?
But he said, because God just wants you to know how big he really is, because he can take a 7% and turn it around, because
He created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. So
yeah. So
7's pretty good, I think.
yeah, even though it seemed so slim to us, it was nothing to him. Fast forward, let's see, how old was our 2.5 years?
2. She was just over 2.
2 years, and we had this I'll admit it, I had this bright idea to have another baby, right?
While they're little.
And because we wanted them kind of close together, and so we were thinking, okay, this is going to take a while, so let's start now. And but this is going to take a really long time. It didn't.
No.
It didn't at all. I'm probably the first month I think, I mean, it's been a while, but yeah, it was not long at all. It wasn't as long as our oldest, that's for sure. And we had told my doctor what we were going to do, and he was like, okay, just go slow. You know what you went through the last time. I'm here if you need me. We're here, whatever you need. And it was like that. And I was not feeling great with this pregnancy. I knew that I was pregnant, so whenever I went in for the first ultrasound, I kept telling her, I'm just so tired with this one. And I was thinking, okay, I'm just older, because I was almost 30 whenever we had, like 2 months short of being 30 whenever we had our first one. And whenever we had the twins, I was 33, I guess. Yeah, something like that. Or a few months short of being 33. Anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm maybe just a little bit older. Maybe that's why I'm tired. And as the lady's doing the ultrasound, like, she looked at me and was like, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do that you've got twins. And so all me and Chris kept thinking was like that 7% chance, you know, that they had told us almost 3 years before that
really matter.
It didn't matter. Yeah. So obviously 7% really didn't bother. I mean, really didn't mean anything to us. And not only did they tell us 7% chance of ever having kids, but they also told us we wouldn't have any boys probably, and our twins are boys. So,
yeah,
you know.
God likes to have fun.
God likes to do little jokes there sometimes. So yeah.
Our daughter turns 3.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, we had twin boys.
Right.
So there you go. You got a 3-year-old and twin infants in the house.
It was cuckoo for Cocoa
Yeah, I
Puffs.
don't remember much about the first 2 years.
No.
It was just survive.
We have a niece and nephew who have little kids. I know y'all have seen them on our stories and stuff, but they'll ask, you know, sometimes, did one of yours go through this or one of yours go through that? I really cannot remember like what the boys went through, because I think we were just in survival mode, weren't we?
Yeah.
So.
Oh man.
But we're not here to talk about that. We really honestly wanted to give some of y'all hope, because I know that especially Mother's Day is really hard for some of you, because you are going through infertility, or you've lost children, or, you know, by miscarriage or abortion or whatever the case is. And we know that it's a really hard time for some of you. And so since some of y'all were asking you know, like about that post the other day, we figured we would just, you know, talk about it and shed some light and give y'all some hope, you know, because it was tough, but, you know, God came through. And I'm not saying that your story is going to be just like ours, but I'm saying just don't lose hope.
Right.
I mean, he's got a better plan than we could ever imagine, because honestly, twins run in my family. My grandmother is actually a twin, and what's so crazy is there were 19 kids and there were 4 sets of twins in her immediate family, and she was one of the twins. So
she's the only one that ever had twins.
Yeah, I had like
out of all these people
30 cousins on that side. I was like one of the youngest. I don't know, it wasn't 30, but anyway, one of the youngest. Nobody had twins, and you know, here it came, only a 7% chance for this couple to have kids, and we end up with the twins. So I mean, you know, I know that it may seem like such a long and tough road, but you can make it, I promise. And like I said at the beginning, I've lost 2 babies myself. That's another story, another time, another thing. But that was before Chris and I got married. So Mother's Day is hard. You know, even though I'm very grateful for our 3 that we have, it's still, it's hard. And it's hard to balance that, because my kids are always wanting to do stuff for us or for me on Mother's Day, and I want to participate and I want to be there with them, but it's very hard for me because I feel torn. You know, I know a lot of churches recognize mothers um, during, Mother's Day, that time, and that even though I have three healthy children, I still have two children that aren't here with us, and that's so hard for me to be recognized as a mother, even though I am a mother. And it's a hard balancing act because I'm trying to be there with for my kids and participate, but yet I have this certain sadness that's there too. So I think y'all are hearing our cows probably in the background. Somebody's, I think our son and Pawpaw are probably over there and they're thinking that they're getting fed. But I don't know, from your perspective though, what's it like? Because I know
What's what like?
Mother's Day.
She don't like it.
No,
So,
it's not that I don't like it though.
it
It's
just
just,
brings up too many things, but you still have to think about, regardless of the sorrow that's involved, the miracles that's happened with us even having any kids,
right.
and then you proceed to move on to the miracles of the things that's happened to her with her heart. So you kind of have to say, is this really
Yeah.
what's what do I need to be?
Focus.
You really just need to be thankful and not even. You can't sweat the sorrow all the time. I can understand it gets drug up and brought up. That's with anything, but there's been too many things that's miraculously happened in our lives together that
And I'm sure in y'all's.
it's
Yeah.
it's you get thinking about it, it's just like uh, like you forget about things, little things that happen, and you know it was a miracle, but you got to think about it. That's how God wants it to be for us every day,
Yeah.
as Him taking something and that's nothing and turning it into a miracle for you. That's how we are supposed to be as believers. Is you know that's what He wants to do for you every day, and we need to believe like that and have the thoughts of, yes, that's who we are in Him. So if we actually had the right mindset of how we are supposed to be every day through believing in Him, every day could be a miracle.
Yeah.
Because He's going to show up and do something every day, whether you recognize it right
Yeah.
now or a year from now, 5 years from now. He's doing something every day in our lives that we don't even recognize, that's little miracles here and there. So
Right.
just being thankful and thinking back, the sorrow stuff is very tough and hard, but He has done so much on the other side of miraculous. Is just it's uncomparable.
Yeah.
And the enemy wants us to think about the sad and the
All the
sorrow.
time.
God says reflect on it and then move on. Don't sit there and wallow in it, but look toward Him and move forward. So we just gotta believe that. I'm sitting here
Yeah.
on the porch right now looking out at my dad's field, and this is where I grew up. And of course, we had more land back then, but this is something I never believed we would be here in a house. That's another thing. We could tell you stories about building this
Yeah.
house that was crazy.
That was
So
yeah.
it's just every little thing that happens. It's on His time. It's on His dime.
Yeah.
And you may be fighting tooth and nail trying to make something happen. Can't understand. Then one little thing happens, and you're like, so that's what He was waiting on.
Right.
So He has timing that just is not ever going to be our timing. And the hardest thing for us to do is wait.
Right.
And have the strength and the faith to just say, no, He's going to take care of it. Work on faith and just hold on to it, because every day is a miracle if we really truly look
Right.
to each of us in our lives. Because
And that's one of the reasons why we do these videos, is because I think sometimes you can see other people's miracles more than you can
Oh, yeah.
yourself. You know, and it kind of challenges you whenever you hear about other people's miracles. It kind of challenges you to look at your own.
Yeah.
You know, and
we're nothing. I mean, we're not telling you this because we think we're something. It's just mediocre of the things that God can do in people's lives.
Absolutely.
We're just little nuances that's happened in the speck of things in our lives, because a blink of an eye to Him could be years and years and years.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
just the hardest thing is just to keep your faith and stay strong. You know, don't let go, even in the darkness and the sorrow. But He will come through.
He will, and we're firm believers that God gives us stories, so we will share our testimonies, and so it'll bring more people to Him, and that's what we do. We're not perfect.
Sorry.
Yeah, we're watching our youngest come through, the youngest of the twins. I mean, we're not perfect, that's for sure. We're not. We don't do it all correct all the time, but I do have to say, over the years our faith has grown, and that's what, because we have seen those miracles, we have seen those, and it, one of the biggest ones ever was taking that 7% chance that man or a doctor gave us of ever having kids, and it turned into 100% from God, and He gave us 3 healthy kids, and with a set of twins. So and I think too, like Chris was saying too, I can have lots of sorrow on Mother's Day because of my past and losing those 2 kids, and but he helps by helping me balance it, because He knows that I need my time. I am an introvert anyway at heart, and He knows that I have to, absorb everything of what's going on.
It's the process.
I have to process it, and every year I go through it on Mother's Day. I have to process it, but He's also the one that is like, okay, we can't sit here and wallow. Let's get up and do something. And He's really good about getting me up and moving around with the kids that we have here on earth. And it's not that I don't appreciate them, I do. It's just hard it's just hard, and we know that it's hard for some of you on Mother's Day, and we just pray that this year's good.
Yep.
And
enjoy the day.
Enjoy the day.
Even in a time of isolation, you probably, everybody's getting on each other's nerves, but you still need to enjoy the fact of what the day is, celebrating mothers all over.
Whether you gave
earth.
birth to them yourself, whether you it was a labor of love through adoption, or whatever the case may be, or if it's children that you helped raise, like you're an aunt or a grandmother. I mean, you deserve that day, and you deserve, I think last year all I told Chris that I wanted was for everybody just not to fight because our 3 kids were fighting all the time. I don't think that happened though, did it?
It did. Threaten their life.
I can't remember if it did or not. Yeah. So Chris is really good about that too, giving them the guilt. They're like,
I don't give them no guilt.
don't mess this up for your mother. Yeah. So, but yeah. What are you laughing at?
You get done.
But we really do appreciate y'all being here, and we just thought we would shed a little bit of light on that, give some of you some hope, and there's nothing wrong. I know I brought up earlier, just one more thing before we go. I know that I brought up earlier that it's hard for some of you to go to church on Mother's Day because they recognize the mothers, and whether you've lost children or whatever the case may be, it's very hard for you to get recognized because of things that you've gone through. I know a lot of us are not going to church right now, I know that a lot of us are watching church from home. You know, there, embrace it this year. You know, embrace it that you don't have that anxiety, you don't have all of that, but embrace it and just know that, to get ready for next year. Because those people at your church do want to celebrate you, and there's nothing wrong with that. So
No.
I have a hard time with it too. It's very hard for me, but this year I have decided that I'm going to take advantage of the fact that we're not going to be in a church building this time, but, I'm going to pray through it and get my heart ready for next year. So just, prepare yourself for next year, even this year. Um, but yeah, anything else?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he didn't say too much today, but I think he knows that this is a touchy subject for a lot of people, and dads do go through it too. Dads have their own way of going through it, and watching their significant other go through it is hard. Um, yeah, yeah. So infertility and all of that is no joke. But
No.
thank y'all again. We are having a 7-day daily devotional live. It will be live. We will be doing um, live videos for 7 days. Chris will talk more. Um, and he will cut up more because that's normally what he does all the time. But whenever
No, I'm
we
sleepy.
press play on this, it's like,
No, it ain't like that every time. I
no.
do cut up more.
Yeah.
This is a little serious.
I know. We need to start picking some not so serious stuff because, yeah, he feels bad joking around whenever it's really serious. But I have to lighten the mood by joking or something. So, anyway, thank y'all. If you would like to grab the daily devotional, go into my bio once again and join our Facebook group, and or you can go into our stories and join through there by swiping up. So thank y'all so much. We will see y'all next week. Happy Mother's Day.